We were on a trip in Berlin and staying in a hostel called Come Backpackers. And we were basically came back. We were sharing our room with some Aussies. They were out all night, asleep all day. We were out all day and sleeping at night. And we came back to sleep. And one of them had shat themselves and been sick in the hallway.
all on top of each other.
Yeah, literally. And we smelt it, and it was...
Oh, that was like too fucking perfect. It wasn't messy. It was fucking there, you know?
It was really real. And basically we smelt it, and I thought, whoa, man, that is shit sick. That smell, I've never smelled that smell before. And I was like, shit sick. That's a fucking great name for a band.
I saw in your Bandcamp that you have a few tags. Punk against fascism. Obviously, you guys are full on punkers. No shame for it. Which is lovely. It goes through everything you do as well on social media. I wonder, what does punk mean to you guys?
I think it means like slightly different things for each of us. I think punk for me is about reclaiming the things that aren't seen as acceptable, you know, whether that's like looking scruffy, or whether that's, you know, not wanting to get a full-time job, or whether that's just, you know, wanting to express yourself in a slightly different way than the status quo. You know, that's punk. I think loads of people are punk and don't even know they're punk because they actually, you know, they feel the same. They just don't express it.
I think punk is just a word that describes my experience on this planet so far. How I've been received, how others would perceive, how I felt. It's punk. Do you know what I mean? Not being necessarily the in gamer, being the out gamer.
Underdog.
The underdog.
You state on your Facebook that you're revolutionary sort of punk stuff, and then obviously I saw on your Instagram it's your Love-olution. What is the punk revolution for you guys?
I think the Love-olution is an energy that's building on the planet, and it's actually happening in loads of different ways. Music is one of them, you know, but it's across the board. Everyone's feeling it, and it's a need to have a different way of dealing with a volatile political climate, and instead of trying to fight it and join in with that kind of confrontational energy, it's about actually having love for people who have different ideas, and having love for people who maybe oppose what you think, and actually thinking that I'm going to love you even though you're different to me. I'm going to love you even though you're the complete opposite, because love is bigger than fear and hate, and I'm not going to join a fight that is not actually going to change. We've seen the revolutions of the past, and, you know, violence, blood begets blood and keeps on spilling, and, you know, we're not about that. We're about healing the world and loving ourselves and each other, and loving the world into a more happy place for the majority of the people who live on it.
There's nothing more strong or real than love. When you boil everything down, like a lot of the oppositions we see, or we're taught to see or believe, don't actually exist on this planet. You know, like even time isn't a real thing. It's just a concept that helps us do this particular thing that we're doing right now on the planet. But love is above all of that, and it's something that's completely unique to this universe, really. Like, that's the strength in everybody, and everybody has it. So, you know, that's beyond. Fuck fascism, fuck the political climate, but also the thing that's so much bigger than that is that thing above, and the Love-olution. We just want to love is the
fucking answer. And a couple of us went to Cuba, and I was really romantic about the revolution, and then I was like, actually fuck the revolution. Great that things were changed, but also a lot of people are left in a really bad situation, and things are more difficult in other ways. They've eased up in some ways, but then they go extreme on the other way. And love is what everyone gives to people that they really care for. And if so, we say Love-olution because we want this movement to have some care involved, and not trying to divide and conquer, or say you're wrong, we're right. I fucking love you, you love me. With family, you don't have the same view with your siblings, but because you love each other, you go past this. But if it's not your family, if it's not blood, if it's someone across the street, you find it harder to share that kind of connection, or to just give it freely. And I think the Shitstick movement is about trying to encourage the free movement of love, and that being a really important way that we communicate and interact with each other, even if we are coming from totally different points of view, you know. Love-olution, baby.
Love-olution is the solution.
So I saw on I suppose your Bandcamp, you have a long sort of article, essentially. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, but it's a great sort of explanation of it's a great explanation of who you guys are. But on Facebook, there's a little bit of a shortened version. But it says capturing the cityscape of corrupt governments and a dismantling welfare state. And again, on the Bandcamp, it's a bit longer, like you guys are coming of age during the backlash of recession and the dismantling of the welfare state.
Yeah.
What made you guys notice these things? What made you guys want to talk about it? Like, there must have been a triggering moment for you guys to be like, fuck, I want to do this. I want to say something about this.
It's just what's happening, isn't it? It's just like, ow, that hurts, actually. It's not just me. What is it? Oh, right, that's my life. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think the thing about politics as well, these words that we've just said, like dismantling of the welfare state, just when you read that, sometimes it can just turn you off, can't it? Because these are just words now, welfare state. What does that mean? Well, it means that we're aiming for a world where, or at least a country where everybody is given the same start, that we're going to try and do something about disabilities or racism or any of the things that we've done in the past. But if we're going to dismantle that, means the fact that it even existed at one point, anybody could get a council house, anybody was entitled to one at one point, because everyone's the governor of themselves, aren't they? They can tell whether they need something or whether they don't, no matter what that person is doing or whatever. But if we're going to take that away once it's been there, what are we trying to say? We're saying, like, actually, it's fight for yourself now, guys. Actually, we haven't got time for you. You kind of need to get over this disability that you've got. You need to just move on. Or, oh, well, actually, I'm sorry that we accepted, you guys in the Windrush. Yeah, we did tell you a lie. It wasn't a really rich place here. You wouldn't be living in London and seeing the green grass and doing this. You'd be working some shit job and living in a really ugly place. Now that means that we don't care about those things. Now I care about those things, and we really care about those things, and rather than pretending that they're just that welfare state, it means quite a lot.
And the fact that we speak about like coming of age in that time is, we've grown up. We remember when you couldn't have access to information, or information was harder to gain access to. You'd have to go to the library, or you'd have to go and rent a film, or whatever it was. Whereas now we've actually grown up into this where you can have access to so much more, and because we already had a drive to discover what was real, and why we felt the way, why are we feeling so uncomfortable in our lives that are meant to be fine. We had access to be able to go and research and to be able to learn things and to learn about the history of our country and learn about the history of the world, and and of course you have to check your sources sometimes. You shouldn't believe everything, and all history, and also the fact that it's even a history and not a her story. Well, I'm a girl, so have you never told what's my story then? Do you know what I mean? And we came up in that, and we came out of college and everything, and it was like, right, it's a recession, guys, so you'll be lucky to get a job, and you better try and get a flat, and you better be able to afford a car, and you otherwise you're nothing and you're worthless.
Keep paying that debt, because it's making everything spin. Keep paying that debt. Don't go too deep with it. Just like,
also, we're really fucking desensitized, and like you watch like a kid being washed up on a shore, and you feel like there's a part of you that can fucking detach from that.
You have your 2 songs online, and I saw you guys live, and so I know you have more songs coming. Those songs, obviously there's Fascist Country and the other ones, but how does politics come into your music and the punk ethos? How does it feed into music? How does it influence you guys? Is it just in the writing, or?
I think a lot of the songs that we've written actually came from conversations that we were having, or like real things that were happening. Fascist country, the line, I don't want to wake up in a fascist country, actually came from a voice note, WhatsApp conversation that we were having, all of our mates, the morning that the Brexit news came out. Do you know what I mean? And it's like Courts said on the recording, I feel like I've just woken up in a fascist country. And I was like, whoa, man, like I get that, and it just stuck in my head. I've woken up in a fascist country. I've woken up in a fascist country. Some people think that fascist country is saying that Britain is a fascist country, but that's not actually what we're saying. Fascism in England has been colonialism. It's slightly different, but it's the same fucking shit. And it's like, we're not saying that Britain is Germany or Britain, you know, is Italy or has had these similar histories, because it hasn't. It's had a different type of history. But, you know, we are heading with a right-wing government, we are heading with fascism popping up all over the shop, and with this idea that we need to take Britain back. That's worrying for me. Like,
make it great again.
And make it...
but what does the Great Britain mean? What does the United... What is it? The United Kingdom of Great Britain. If you isolate all those words, you know, have a good think about that, what that actually means, and it's pretty scary from the start. And it's just actually, yeah, wake up. That's us, baby. Like, we live here. We've got a responsibility to that. You know, what we love about Berlin, why we spend time in Berlin, is because there's a sense that people have owned that. It's very healing to own the damage that you've done. It creates a completely different vibe.
They don't educate you.
Britain lies about its history in schools. It teaches lies, and it's not cool. Of course, so many places do, and it's like, it's not cool. You know, it's like, if we're going to heal as a nation, we need to accept and own our history. Yeah, if we're going to really heal and create a country that is a great place to be, then we need to face the facts, and we need to look backwards, and we need to go through it, you know. And it might not be comfortable. Yeah, we need to apologise. We've got some serious apologies to make on the world stage, let alone legislation and ideas that actually...
What if we just pay everything's... I love loans, right? I think loans are jokes, right? The idea of a loan. What if we accept that we've done something wrong, we've forgiven by the people that we've butchered, slaughtered, raped and robbed, and they said, that's fine, which would be great, right? And said, you just need to pay us back. Well, we won't have this fucking shit, would we? Because we don't own this shit, do we? No, we don't. We don't own it. We owe it to a lot of people. And if we gave that back to people, that'd be jokes. I'd love to see that. I would really love to see that happen.
So I wonder, when you're writing music, how do you think about putting all of this into your songs? Like, what is the process behind it? Because obviously you want to go on to make more albums, you want to go on to make more music with it. Yeah. What is the process of putting all of these emotions and everything you're talking about into that?
Well, you normally just get a line, you know, or you get a starting point, and if you give that starting point some space and some time, and you sit down and you go, actually, I'm just gonna listen to what this thing is saying to me, songs can come quite naturally. Do you know what I mean? And actually, there's a lot of information in the universe that wants to be heard, and if you're open to listen, there's a lot of information out there. So like we do it in that sort of sense. We'll get together, we'll create a sacred space, you know, a space where we can be ourselves and we can relax and we can start to open up. And then the things that we've been talking about, the things we've been thinking about, will naturally actually start to come through. And, you know, we were never musicians or songwriters, and we really encourage people who've never written a song, never thought of themselves as being musically connected, just to sit down and listen, because everyone's got music in them.
Creativity is our birthright. We've just, as everyone's birthright, we've just forgotten how to do it because we've been taught not to do it, because it's very powerful.
And music is like quite an easy way for people to listen. Like they are programmed to listen to music with quite a safe space. You hear a song and it doesn't. There's a boundary a little bit, and like, so with us writing songs about certain things, like we want to write a song about single mums who are having a hard time, and we want to show solidarity, but also educate people. If we were to do a talk, to talk to people on the streets, people would think would maybe find it a bit more intimidating.
I saw in the Bandcamp thing that it said, obviously a reply to the dismantling of the welfare and everything, that you guys would be antidote. And I wonder how you would consider yourself an antidote, and how you would consider yourself to be fixing things or changing things.
It's the strength thing. It's telling the truth. But also what you were saying something actually yourself earlier about being a strong woman, but being sexy, but not being sexualized. But what is that line? And it's just like breaking. The antidote is considering all of those options, but considering it's much simpler. Also realizing it's much simpler than that. That women are strong. Women have rage. Women are angry. They're allowed to express themselves. They can cry in public or whatever, And being an antidote is saying cool, I see what's going on here. I've felt it very personally. I've felt it collectively with my peers. We've talked about it, and we've got to make a song about it. Maybe we could step even further away and look at it we all play a role in this, and we could have played any of these roles. And the antidote is when you can get a little bit more removed and then look over it and go, cool, I'm strong enough to actually accept all of this. And
yeah, I think like we always say, shit sick is the medicine, because like a lot of people who come to our gigs, they come up to us afterwards and they say thank you. And like, you know, we've been performers for years, but it's only with shit sick that I've had people say thank you, and I'm thinking thank you for what? And I'm like, I know what it is. It's because we've just been true to ourselves, and to see someone be true to themselves and step up and say, actually, like, you know, there's a lot of things that maybe aren't okay right now, and I'm willing to say it. You've already broken the mirage. You've already broken the illusion, you know, that people are so invested in, that's hurting people in many different ways. And like, to be the medicine is just to be yourself.
And we
We're
had
all
this
the
one
medicine.
girl come up to us after one of our gigs and just say to us, oh, that was amazing, I'm going to go home and split up with my boyfriend. And it's like, cool, if that's what that means to you, and that's what you needed to get from this, that's great. But I mean, we don't have a song saying fuck my boyfriend, or I mean, like, we don't have, or
we ain't
dump
got
my
nothing
boyfriend.
against
We've
boyfriends.
nothing against boys, got nothing against boyfriends.
Is this the love illusion, baby? It's bigger than that, yeah?
But if that's what you needed to hear, that's great.
What would you like someone listening to your music to feel? Like, obviously you touched a little bit on that, but what would you like someone to take away from hearing you guys?
I think the thing that I would personally want, it's probably a bit different for each of us, is like, I just want people to remember who they are, and that they don't actually have to be limited by anything that they think is encroaching on their freedom. You know, like, everyone has the potential to completely transform anything that they choose to, and the fact that the majority of us have forgotten that is sad, but we're all waking up, so it's all right.
I'd like them to feel comfortable with the uncomfortable. You know, like, I may not be the image of a woman that you want to see, that you're used to seeing, or that you can understand, but like, if we can all be comfortable talking about uncomfortable things and being ourselves, then, which is sometimes uncomfortable, then yeah.
Okay. Fuck yes, yes, yes. You know, just like yes. You know, hear me just going like yeah. You know, like, or seeing it going yeah, like that. I mean, I just want people to be thinking that, just like very minimal thoughts, but just like the feeling of like, wah, shit sick.
Shit sick.